Hey, this is Web3 Talks. The rule of this podcast is simple. We only talk with people who have hands-on Web3 building experience. So if you are a hacker, entrepreneur, or investor, you can get inspired by their stories, lessons, and fuck-ups. My name is Mac, and I'm hosting this pod. If you want to stay in touch, go to twitter.com/web3talks, click the link in the pinned tweet, and join our Discord community. Let's go. Today's guest is a person that I wanted to invite almost since the inception of this podcast. And I wanted to talk with him because he and his team is building one of the most useful Web3 products that's around. And the guest's name is Harsh Rajat. He's founder of EPNS, known as Ethereum Push Notification Service. And we will get to why it's useful and why I was so excited about seeing Harsh today. But before we get to that, Harsh, how you ended up in Web3 space? What's your story?
So first of all, thanks for having me, Mac. It's good to be on this podcast, and thanks for everyone who's watching this. So how did I get into Web3? I think my journey followed the same path as most of the Web3 folks. I got into trading when Bitcoin was $1,000, bought my first Bitcoin, and then it crashed to $200. But yeah, that was the start. After that, I traded a bit with the classic buy high, sell low strategy. And that is again something very, very common. But yeah, I kind of realized at that point of time that, whenever a coin was coming to one exchange or the other, the coin would fluctuate in value. So based on that, and because before that, I was dabbling into a bit of machine learning and AI, I created a bot that was just monitoring all the exchanges, like what coins are coming. And it was just weighting all the exchanges like with numbers. So based on that, it will basically buy from my exchange if a new exchange listing is out and the exchange is in the better ranking. And that worked well. It used to send me weekly reports. And around 2017-18, it started sending me a lot of ERC20 tokens, which was when I found out about Ethereum. That was my journey. I realized that you can code in Ethereum. So it's just not, digital money, it's programmable money as well. And that excited me because, I was in my exploratory phase of the journey at that point of time, which basically led me to join a Web3 company. They were doing P2P and meta transaction. I was there for a year because I had been a mobile entrepreneur before. So I knew that you have to be in the space first to understand. So I was there till 2019 and after that, started EPNS.
Okay, I really like this buy high, sell low strategy. I know it very well.
Yep, works all the time.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to EPNS because on the surface, it's a service that helps Web3 dApps to send push notification to their users. And if you don't dig deeper, it doesn't sound impressive because people think push notifications, we have them everywhere. So what's the fuss? But the thing is that I believe it's impressive because it solves a very fundamental yet unobvious problem. Because at this point in time, most people just check out Discord or Twitter or any other social media looking for the notifications, which sometimes get hacked. Lately, Bored Ape Yacht Club got hacked, as far as I remember, their Instagram profile. So it's not safe. And getting notifications is not so easy in Web3 because it's very different approach. So could you share the story and vision behind the EPNS? How do you approach this problem and what's so different about it than Web2 solution?
So actually, the origin of the story is 10 years back or 11 years back. I was a mobile app and games entrepreneur. Before that point of time, we were used to going to Orkut or going to Gmail and checking things again and again. BlackBerry did some notifications, but it was Apple that launched Apple Push Notification Service. And that changed everything. That changed how we interacted. And because, I was there like in the origin, the documentation and everything sucked. So you had to go do dig your hands, like you had to do all the dirty work. So I think at that point of time, I understood like why communication layer is so important. And that basically became the origin for EPNS when we came over to EPNS. But yeah, why notifications are important, or why it's different in Web3. Well, notifications are important because just think about it. We get up in the morning, and what we do, we look at our mobile phone, and we have all the notifications, whether it's our important email, whether it's about our important workspace thing, Slack, Monday, whatever, whether it's about a game that we play or love, whether it's about Discord, whether it's about tweets that are coming, whether it's about banking. Everything is basically services or Web2 services going and coming to us and saying, hey, this might be important for you. What do you want to do? And that is how we live our life. Like after Apple launched notifications and then Google followed suit, that is how we live our life. And that is very, very convenient because, even in WhatsApp, we are not talking to our friends on WhatsApp. We are talking to our friends via notifications. No one is there on one app all the time. And that was the same concept like when we started working on EPNS. I mean, before EPNS idea was born, we were just looking into a lot of smart contracts and DApp, thinking about what is the next pain point that we can solve. And very quickly, we realized, maybe because of this experience, that when we are going on Web3, we are basically going to, let's say, Aave or Uniswap or Maker or Snapshot. And we are thinking, like, let me check it out if something has occurred, which is important to me. But that is a broken field, or that is a broken thing, because the more the ecosystem expanded, the more these problems started occurring more and more. If I take a loan on Aave, I cannot go and check Aave all the time. And it's so weird, like you go out on a vacation and you come back and your bank says, oh sorry, your house is no more your house because it's foreclosed. We couldn't notify because you weren't checking our office all the time. So yeah, that was the thing. That was the basic. Like we realized that notifications or communications are not going out from any app or any protocol or any smart contract. And the reason for that was that there was no communication layer that was built for Web3. So just to think about it like in a very simple term, like when we are talking on Twitter, we talk to Twitter through Twitter usernames. When we are talking on WhatsApp, we are talking to WhatsApp through WhatsApp usernames that are mobile phone numbers. When we talk to Web3, we are actually not talking to Web3, or we weren't talking to Web3. Web3 usernames are wallet address. But what we did was we basically said that, okay, no communication layer is there, no way to talk to wallets. Let me do one thing, let me create a Twitter account, and then we will just tell people that something is going to happen or create Discord and so on. But that's a broken interface because the users who you want to directly talk to, you are not talking to them. ENS basically 8 months or a year before ENS sent out a tweet like 50,000 domains or something similar is expiring on Twitter. That is weird because, the wallet address, who are your usernames, they are not getting that communication. And that was when we realized that this communication layer is not formed and this needs to be built. And that is when we basically started architecturing it. Now there are a couple of things which are different from Web2 to Web3. Like the first thing is that this needs to be an open communication layer, right? Because Ethereum, for example, Ethereum account info is stored in the backend, which is decentralized and distributed, but any front end can tap into it. And that was the vision behind EPNS as well. Like, let's not create a service, but let's create a protocol wherein all the communications are tied to wallet address and stored in a distributed, decentralized network. And then any crypto wallet, any crypto front end can just tap into this network and can show all the communications out. So you can basically see all your notifications. If MetaMask adopts us, then on MetaMask in the future. And then, basically you probably go to Phantom if you're a Solana user, and you can even then open that and you can see the notifications. So that was what EPNS is about. In tech terms, it's basically a decentralized communication protocol using which any app, any smart contract, any backend, any Web3 service or Web2 service also can send communications that are tied to Web3 usernames, which are wallet addresses in an open multi-chain, gasless, and platform agnostic way. And the reason why we started with communication or notification, but I emphasize on communication, is because we realized that notifications basically form the base of every communication. So it was notification first, and now we are dabbling into wallet to wallet as well.
Just to recap, for me, the most revolutionary thing is that, in Web 2, every app built their notification because you installed app on your phone, so they could do it. They had this direct relationship with the user. But what you are doing is you create like a protocol where all apps can use it. So it's like a meta notifications in this way that everyone can use it both from the user side and also from the app side. So that's why I think it's different, and it's very in line with the Web3 ethos of making it decentralized.
Exactly. In Web3, you cannot do single username like Web2 because Facebook stores all your information, Twitter stores all your information, and then you are notifying. In Web3, you have a shared username, right? You use, let's say you use Lens protocol, the same wallet address will use Uniswap or Decentraland and so on. So again, that was the first problem, which we said that this needs to be redefined or this needs to be invented, like an open system where these things can happen in a Web3 way. And of course, Web3 is different in the way that it's a peer-to-peer open network. The notifications that were created by Apple, they were like just from client to server. Like you have a closed server and then using that you are sending notifications, but over here it's an open network. So yeah, I agree, like exactly like the Web3 ethos and philosophies.
And as far as I know, you also reward people for reading this notification. Could you tell a little bit about it?
So Mac, we used to reward people in version 0. Like the idea was that a service before they can send notification, they stake some DAI, and we used to get this DAI deposited to Aave, and the interest that was getting generated, whoever signs in or opts in to basically allow the service to send a notification, they would get the DAI splitted in that way. But in version 1, we had to move away from that because we went multi-chain and we went gasless. That means that the user doesn't even have to opt in. Like when they opt in, they are signing something gaslessly and sending it to our network. So because of that, we had to remove this feature where users were incentivized to get notifications. Having said that, we are trying to get it back into the order. We are just like researching how to do it in a multi-chain way, wherein these gaslessly recorded transactions can also be verified and therefore the users can get their stake out.
Talking about the users, like you have a product that can definitely suffer from the chicken egg problem, because on one side you have platforms and on the other side you have users. And if there are no platforms, users won't use your service because they don't have anything to be notified about. And on the other hand, if there are no users, platforms say, yeah, like, why should I use it at all? Because there are no users. So I'm wondering, like, how have you solved it in the early days, and how have you acquired your first users and partners?
That's actually an amazing question, Mac. That was something which kept us, which had a lot of sleepless nights because we had to solve this. I think we didn't solve it as much as the Ethereum community did it for us, because when we started talking about the idea, they got excited. A lot of Web3 mentors reached out, like they wanted to help. And because of that, basically, when we went to popular services of Ethereum, the first service we went to was Uniswap. And we said, like, hey, we are creating this and we would like your help. Would you be able to help us, define the version 1 of the communication? Because you are inventing something, so you don't know exactly what features to expect. The services knew that. So we went to, some of the really cool services or some of the really cool protocols like Uniswap and ENS and Polygon and Gitcoin, and said that, guys, we are going to build this Web3 native communication layer and we need your help. A, just to define the features, and B, to also create useful notifications for your users. And would you help us out? And I think it was because of these services, like they saw like this is something which is a problem, and they were willing to help. We were able to solve the chicken and egg problem because they said that sure we would help you out, and because of that we were able to get their users, because now their users are getting these important notifications. So probably it was a win-win now, but at that point of time when we went over there, like it was the awesomeness of these protocols that basically helped us solve the chicken and egg problem. And now we continue that. We basically go to all the projects and protocols that are doing cool work, and we basically say that this is something which is getting built and it's actually live already now, so it would be great that you use it. And now then we work with these services and we create or co-build notifications out, and based on, because these notifications are important for the users, it basically drives users to use the protocol, and that's how you basically solve the chicken and the egg problem.
When I listen to that, like it makes perfect sense, because like on one hand, like Ethereum community is very cool and very, very open. And for these services, like what notifications basically do, like what they do, they, from the product management perspective, they make user engage with your product more. So everyone wants that, like, because like it's a no-brainer for them. So like your product, it seems like a perfect fit for their services. So that makes sense why they were so eager to help.
I would say, like, even, these protocols and the Ethereum community, like, while the project, of course, the product needs to make sense, but it's because of Ethereum community and it's because of the cool protocols of Ethereum. Like, they really want to help you out. Like, few people even told us, like, when we were raising, like, these are people who are running very, very popular protocols. They helped us out by going through our deck and by going through our 1 hour talk and by going through our tech, what techs stack we were defining, just to make sure that, the product is good. And this was like, in a way, selfless. So this is what I think Ethereum community and Ethereum protocols do. They help each other out.
That's great. I think Satoshi would be happy, that Ethereum is here and like all the other protocols are here. So it's very in line with this ethos. And,
Yes.
like I would like also to address, because like, as far as I know, like since the mainnet launch in January, you already got 44,000 subscribers, which, in Web2 terms, it wouldn't be a lot, but in Web3, like that's a lot because there are very few users that are sophisticated enough to really care about things like that and use Uniswap and so on. So I'm wondering, like, how do you acquire new users today? Do you have any strategy?
The entire ethos still remain the same, but now we have started grants as well on top of it. But the entire ethos is the same, like work with protocols, tell them the usefulness of communicating with the users, and then basically takes its own course, because the users get happy because now they, whatever they are doing on Web3, they are communicated, like important communications, especially in DeFi and governance. Actually, everywhere, like even in metaverse and NFT, like you have so many use cases, so the users get happy. So that basically builds the entire user base out. But other than that, now we have also started grants, which basically means that if you are a developer or if you are a marketer and you have some cool ideas to gather more and more users to make them aware, they can apply to our grants, which are which is around 1 million for 6 months. So yeah, that's another way by which we approach things. And the other cool thing which we have just started doing is going to hackathons and encouraging and helping developers out to build some cool products. And some of them choose to build it out with EPNS as well. So that again really is something that really works well. And going to the hackathons is also something which is very special to our heart, because we started this from ETH Global Hack Money 2020. So it's kind of like a full circle that you're going back over there,
Hmm.
but this time to help the hackers out, like how someone helped
Hmm.
us when we started.
And what kind of services they can build? Like, for example, could I build like WhatsApp using your protocol? Just
Yes.
wallet communication? Okay.
Yes. So we are also building wallet to wallet communication, but yeah, that's the thing. This is a communication layer, so anyone can build whatever they want. So you can build like a messenger. When we like the previous hackathon, ETH Amsterdam one, where we went, a team like built a very cool protocol wherein Lens protocol. Whenever someone liked or followed, you got a notification out. Another cool developer built something for the node or the beacon chain. Like it will notify you the amount of rewards you have. So, it's only limited by the imagination of what you want to build. You can go build WhatsApp out, you can go build a aggregator out, you can go build a wallet tracker out, or whatever you want. So, yeah.
Great, great. I think it might be also useful for traders if they want to aggregate, notifications from different services and just put them in their group chat and just discuss it. I think it might be interesting.
Yes, yes. In fact, the airdrops. So we recently partnered with Onify so that, the airdrops that come and, some airdrops are now claimable only till a certain extent of time. You can even do that. And for traders, even something, I mean, this is so cool. Like something as simple as you receiving crypto, you don't get to know about it. So you can even build that out as well. So it's
Hmm.
amazing, like how many things you can build out. Even the
Hmm.
Web2 services, like we partnered with CoinDesk as well. So now CoinDesk, if you want to have like articles sent directly to your wallet address, that is happening. So yeah, you can
Oh.
even build something as cool as that. Or the Bored Ape community. Like you can build something out which basically means that if you have a Bored Ape NFT, only then you are talking to each other. And now it's a trusted communication. Or Bored Ape can basically build a channel so that only when this channel says that something is happening to the wallet address that owns the NFT, then and only then,
Hmm.
you basically say that, it's a trusted way
Hmm.
of communication that's coming out.
Okay, like it sounds interesting. I would like to touch like another perspective here because like you are a protocol that helps with notifications and one of the great thing is that increases security because as we said like Twitter, Discord, there are so many exploits and scams there that it's better to have like direct communications with the user. But on the other hand, as you are in charge of notifications from Uniswap or Aragon or like Aave, you might be attacked by hackers who want to just, get in line and just communicate with the users and tell them, send us your seed phrases or whatever. So I'm wondering, how do you secure EPNS from this kind of attack? And does going multi-chain make it harder?
Two questions over there. I'm just going to answer them in reverse. Going multi-chain, yes, it's very, very hard. Team has spent countless night to figure it out, but I'm super stoked that we did figure out the multi-chain aspect. Coming to the question, like the security question. So basically, that was something from the very start we knew that this doesn't have to be a service; it has to be a protocol, which means that the channel owners, services that send notifications or any communication like chat, they are basically called channels in our terminology. And channels, they basically register on EPNS core, but they are the ones that are responsible to send notification out. Like their wallet address or a wallet address, they delegate the power to only these wallets can send a notification out. No one else can, not even we can send it out. And when they are sending these notifications out, either they are sending it by signing the payload with EIP 712, which basically makes it verifiable that it's coming from these wallets, or they are sending it through a smart contract, which again verifies that it's coming from the wallet. Only then and then the notifications work. So because of that, we basically remain like trustless or permissionless and enable all these services to send it out without us doing anything or storing anything in our front end or the back end or the network, which can compromise these things.
Okay. So you are more like SMTP, like they cannot send an email on my behalf because I am the one that sends an email.
Yes, exactly. So, like SMTP, the protocol used to send emails out, exactly like that. This communication layer, you can send communication bits out, whether it's notification, whether it's chat, and in the future, we'll probably do video as well. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. And your product is a very like technical one, the one that, I guess takes a lot of brain power to build and develop. So I'm wondering, like, what has been the biggest technological challenges that you have faced so far, and how have you, tried to solve them?
That would be multi-chain, and that would be basically communication from a Ethereum user to a non-EVM user. Like our idea was like I can be a Web3 user or I'm a Web3 user, which means I might interact with Ethereum, but then I might also interact with Binance, Bitcoin, maybe Solana also. Who knows? But yeah, the idea was like the communication or the notifications should be universal. So you open your MetaMask. If MetaMask integrates us, then you can see all the notification and all the chat, even from Solana and vice versa. And that was super, super hard to crack. But yeah, the way we basically cracked it was we created a EPNS core smart contract that resides on Ethereum. And this is just to make sure that all the services that want to send communication, they have to come and activate themselves on EPNS core. And EPNS core basically is responsible for three things. It's governance, it's setting the config for the entire decentralized middleware that we are creating, and a few other things. This resides on Ethereum, and any service that wants to send communication, they want to create a channel, they basically come and activate themselves on it. Then the other side of the thing we have is something called EPNS com layers. So EPNS com layers, they are basically divided into two things. One is EPNS com SDK, which allows gasless notifications from backend or a dApp. And the other layer is EPNS-COM middleware smart contracts, which are communication smart contracts deployed on all the blockchain that we support. And if you're a smart contract, you can use this as smart contract to send a notification out. Now, these two ecosystem cogs which we have, they're both listened to by the push nodes which form our network. These are validated nodes. Their job is to basically listen to all the communication coming from EPNS-COM. It validates very quickly through the indexed EPNS core information or the account information it has. And if everything looks great, it admits it into the network. And after that, any crypto front end can just go ahead and tap into the network and show these communication out.
Hmm. I'm wondering, like, because this is a very neat solution, I might say, but I guess you haven't come up with it, just taking a shower or something like that, that it took some, testing, iterating, and so on. So I'm wondering, what were some dead end streets that you have, tried before? Something that you thought, okay, it's a great solution for either getting users, platforms, or solving our problems, but it didn't work at all.
So that would be the V0 of the contract. What we said was like when we started building that we already have a distributed computer like Ethereum. So why create your own network? Just deploy a smart contract middleware where anyone who's a smart contract, who's a dApp, who's a backend can just send notifications. And then we don't need this push nodes, the network which I just told you about. Then anyone can basically listen to this one particular smart contract and show everything out. So that was cool in theory. That was like the POC of the hackathon product which we started. But when we started talking to more and more protocols, we kind of realized that this will not work, because even if we find a way to make it work on layer twos of Ethereum, it will not go non-EVM. And more than that, services who want to send targeted notification, like your loan is expiring. If you're sending 10,000 notifications as transaction, even if it's batch transaction through, any other transactions, and it's a piggyback transaction, it will basically be very, very costly. So then basically that was the point which led to this multi-chain concept and which led to the V1 of the protocol. But yeah, I would say that the V0, it was, I mean, it wouldn't have worked so well as this new V1 of the contract is working. So yeah, that can be
Hmm.
taken as a dead end.
Okay. It's always fascinating to me that whenever you have an idea for a product, it almost never ends up being the same idea after you start working on it.
I know,
Because
right? Now I tell the team members the same thing, like, guys, start designing a feature, and believe me, like, you don't have to say, like, at the end, what will the feature be like? Because I'm very sure that once you have designed 20 or 30% of the feature, you will pivot. So it's always like that.
Okay. So I'd like to ask, as we are talking about having your own protocol, I'm wondering, like, how does your token work, this push token? Is it like a governance token, or does it has any particular utility?
The push token actually has four major utilities or four major pillars. Like the first is this network which we are creating, the push nodes network. The more decentralized it is, the better it is for Web3. And the best way to do that security is through the push token. So that is like one of the core things that the push token does. The other thing that the push token does is, like, I very briefly touched upon EPNS code and there's settings in the communication middleware. These settings can be, the fee which we take when a channel is created, or if a channel wants to update itself, we want to have a little bit of fee just to make sure that scammers are not basically recreating
Mm-hmm.
the channel again and again. Then there's a spam score which we are working on, and there are a lot of other settings that basically drive the entire communication middleware. Our communication middleware is very live. So all these utility settings which we have, they can only be changed by the token holders, making it like a decentralized communication middleware. Then the third thing which we have is, of course, governance. So we basically put or carved out 53% of the tokens just for the community. And our goal is, like, because this is again a decentralized communication middleware, it needs to be run by the community in the future. So that basically forms a governance section of the push token. And the fourth, which is very cool, is the fee split, which will come in the near future. So the idea is that whatever fees we charge in the future, or token holders choose to charge in the future, they will go into a fee pool, and then the token holders can decide, like, what part of the fee goes to the crypto front ends that basically integrate push notifications or EPNS protocol. So it basically becomes like a win-win for everyone, because now crypto wallets are also incentivized to basically earn, because those are the front ends that the user are using to make their life better.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the four things that we have for push.
Yeah, so this is like a very useful token. I mean, in a way that, some even bigger projects just send the governance token, but it basically means that you can just vote. But it seems that you have more and more utility. And, I would like to ask about it because I know that you are progressively decentralizing the service. And, on one hand, it can be mentally rewarding for the founders because they can take some burden off their shoulders. And on the other hand, it very often leads to more chaos. And we have seen it in many projects, like one of them, like even, Sushi Swap, like the last problems they had. It's very challenging, and I'm, crossing my fingers for them to just solve it. But I'm wondering, like, what's your take on that? Like, how have you been going through this process, and what's your plan to avoid chaos?
That is actually an amazing question. So, the goal is to become entirely decentralized, but why progressive is because of the same rationale. Like, I really believe in the game theory, and game theory basically states, like, until you have 60% of the participants in the game theory that basically have the same vision in mind, what you want to do, until you have that, the game will basically collapse. But if you have 60% of the participants that are true to that vision, then the game will never collapse. Like, even when bad plays enter the system, good plays will kick it out. And there's actually a very cool simulation that people can try. It's, I think, entrust.play or something similar. But yeah, they can basically simulate everything and they can see that, how this 60% is so important. And that's why we designed this entire thing with progressive decentralization in mind. Even the governance, like we just completed the progressive governance decentralization phase zero. And we have planned like at least 5 phases just to make sure that the first community that is getting designed, we are able to help them grow and nurture them so that that 60% of the thing stays true. And once that stays true, that is when, we can relax and chill out. But yeah, that's how we are achieving progressive
Mhm.
decentralization, and that's how we are seeing progressive decentralization in
Mm.
EPNS.
And do you think most of these voters will be protocols, or like will it be like, ENS, Uniswap, and like all these platforms that use your product, or more like, retail users? What do you think?
I think it will be a mix of both. It will be developers, it will be community members, and then it will be retail users. I would say that we do need like developers to form a major part of the governance as well as other community members, because this is also moving towards a DAO phase. Like as I said, that 53%.
Hmm.
With retail users, like of course, they are cool, but you do need a basic ratio, like a special ratio, which basically means that you do have developer voice, like, no, this is wrong, don't do that. You need community to say that no, we need more marketing, we need to give more grants, we need to go grow ahead. And then you have retail users who basically are your voices around the world that, hey, these guys are building something very, very cool. All of these three, the way they look at particular problem, it's very special. And, if they are able to discuss something out, that will be very, very cool. So we would want
Hmm.
developers, community members, and retail users, all three of them to be a part of governance.
Hmm. Okay, okay. We are getting till the end, and I have three questions that I always ask. So I will ask
Amazing.
you as well. So the first question is, what has been the most mind-blowing Web3 projects that you have seen so far? Something that, made you feel inspired or even surprised that someone, connected these dots in a way that they've done it.
In the past, of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum, that is amazing. We are here because of them. I would say Uniswap, it's amazing. Like it's a mind blowing product. 4 years back, everyone wanted central exchanges because there was no DEXs. The concept didn't exist. Uniswap just changed that and basically gave the power, more power to the people. Otherwise, it was just central exchanges, and it was up to them, like what project will be listed or not, or will perform or not. But Uniswap basically changed that. So definitely them. ENS as well, like ENS basically will form a identity of the future, is what I feel. And it basically made Web3 easier. Like not a lot of products can say that they made Web3 easier, but ENS did. Like, I can probably go send you some crypto in mac.eth, and that is much, much easier than, sending it to a 32 digit public wallet address. So, yeah, I would say ENS definitely. And yeah, I think those two are going to be my favorite. Aave as well and Polygon as well. Like Polygon, I think solved the layer 2 scalability for now before other people came in. And Aave basically has this chance of becoming a global bank. So yeah, I just see like any projects that make the lives of the people better, and they basically invented that thing out. I have like huge respect for them.
I'm a big fan of all of these that you have mentioned. Like for me, like when I first used Uniswap, it was so strange because this was this like Web3 light bulb moment when you just see, okay, I don't need to make, there's no KYC, I don't need to make an account, give them my email, send money anywhere. It's just you go there and there's just like the swap, connect wallet, click. And my mind was blown when I first used Uniswap. Like it's
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I think that is where the Web3 username really shines. Like whoever has embraced that Web3 username, it basically eliminates a lot of headaches. Like now you don't have to go to exchange, then connect your email, then do KYC, then send funds, then transfer, then send fund back. Like for one action, you had 10 actions. Now Uniswap exists. All you have to do is go to your wallet, go to your swap something out, and you're good to go.
and also, at the end of the day, like money stays on your wallet because we haven't big problems with centralized exchange maybe in the last few years. Coinbase and Binance and FTX, they are pretty solid, but in 4 years ago, it was totally different
Mount
thing.
Gox, Cryptopia, I know. And this is something like you have to learn from the previous mistakes, otherwise you will be bound to make those mistakes again. So right now everything is good with centralized exchange doesn't mean that a hack will not occur. Like few hacks did occur, it was just that exchanges they reimbursed people out. That's the thing. Like doing things trustlessly, I think it's a much powerful way of doing things than relying on central things.
Mm. And I have the next question that I also ask. What's the funniest thing that had happened to you? Something that made you smile or laugh out loud,
Oh wow.
or even roll on the floor laughing?
All right. So, and it's funny for me because I was not part of that exploit, but I understand it will not be probably funny for the users. But I saw a protocol saying "Dear hacker," and the hacker then returning the money. That was like one of the funniest thing I could see happening in the entire Web3. Yeah. So that was really funny, like someone calling hacker like dear hacker and the hacker responding as well. That was the funniest thing. Other than that, like crypto Twitter is just a Netflix in its own. Like you can just follow conversations and there's so many fun conversations that keep on happening. So
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, like I've been on the internet like for more than 20 years, but I have never seen such funny community as crypto Twitter. Like, all these people there are like, I just laugh every day whenever I just scroll my Twitter feed and
So one more funny thing was like we were in Decentral Miami and there was a VIP dinner and we were not carrying any suits. So we were then discussing this is a VIP dinner. Do we need to go out get suits? And we were just thinking that and then it was like let's go. The worst that will happen is probably we will be denied. And then we saw someone who was wearing a bathrobe and he was there at the entrance and we were like, we are good. So that is Web3 as well. You can wear whatever you want. No one cares. So yeah.
yeah, that's beautiful. So Harsh, one last question. It was very cool conversation, and I love talking with builders. And I'm wondering, do you have anyone in mind, like any builder that I should invite next? Someone who could be a good fit for this kind of conversation, and their experience could be valuable for other people.
I could have said Polygon if you're looking for like builders that are already established. For upcoming builders, I would say Huddle is very cool. Huddle 01, they are doing they are trying to decentralize Zoom, so that's also very cool. People from Bioeconomy and Instant App is very cool. So either of these three projects I would recommend.
Okay, I will try because like Polygon is definitely on my list, like very, very high on my list to get like Sandeep or like anyone else from their founding team. So I hope it will, happen. So thanks a lot, and have a good day. And if people want to learn more about EPNS, where should they go?
Oh yeah, yeah, the cool part. So, guys, you can go to epns.io to learn about it. If you're a developer, docs.epns.io or go to app.epns.io. We have a live walkthrough so you can understand everything. If you want to follow us and if you're in the mood of chat, join our Discord. Go to epns.io and through that come on Discord. Discord has some very weird URL, so I cannot share that out. Or join our Twitter. It's EPNS Project, PROJECT on Twitter. So yeah, if you don't want to be too chatty, but you want to look what the project is doing, so you can go and join that.
And I will add one thing. If you want to see top level of landing design, whether it comes to explanation of the product and the design, go to EPNS.io. Like, they've done a terrific job explaining the protocol. And as we all know, in Web3, there's a lot of technical jargon, but you somehow managed to make it super easy to understand. So if you are looking for an inspiration for your product, definitely go there. It's super, super well done.
Awesome. Thank you.
So thanks a lot, Harsh, and have a good day.
Thanks, Mark. This was fun. Thanks for having me.
Bye.